Hello, happy Monday to everybody, and thank you very much for joining me for our Final Expense Monthly Monday. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2020. My name is Matt Alina. I'm the Final Expense Manager here at URL Insurance Group, and we do these webinars the first Monday, working Monday of every month. We talk about everything and anything revolving and involving final expense. So we have a lot to cover today. I was kind of hoping that in April, when we did our webinar, that was going to be the only webinar that we would have to do, and then everything would be back to normal and we could resume business as normal. And while some states are opening up from this pandemic, there are still a lot of states that are kind of slow at opening up business and slow to resume things as we were accustomed to. So for those of you who are Star Wars fans, happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo, and hopefully by this time next month, we will be back in kind of a new normal, if you will. From the COVID-19 and everything. Just so you kind of know, or that you're aware, it is still business as usual at URL Insurance Group, and we are just all working remotely. So everything that you're experiencing from URL, or that you're accustomed to experiencing from URL, we're able to do that from the comforts of our own homes. So fortunately, we are able to do that. We're still able to service you and help you service your clients. So we have a lot to cover today, and just to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be covering, for those of you who are brand new to Final Expense, we do have some information for you to kind of help you with getting started in the Final Expense marketplace. If you've been on the fence about trying Final Expense, now would be a really good time to kind of dip your toe in the water, if you will, and get out there and give it a try. For those of you who are seasoned veterans in Final Expense, bear with us. We didn't forget about you. There's going to be some information for you as well that'll help you with what you're currently doing, and basically some tools to adapt with COVID-19. So we'll be discussing Final Expense sales and how to get started. We'll also be discussing our lead program and our lead subsidies. Of course, we'll have some news and updates. We're going to be providing some sales tips and highlighting a couple of companies. We do have some agent bonuses and incentives going on. And then, of course, we do open it up for any questions, comments, concerns that you might have. Keep in mind that there are people on this call that are brand new. You might have some questions, and there are people on this call that have been doing this a while. And it's an opportunity for people to kind of get involved in the conversation a little bit. Ask questions. That's how we learn. We'll try to get those questions answered for you. And if you are on the fence about trying Final Expense, give me a call at some point this week. We can have a conversation about how to get started and how you can kind of get moving in the right direction and getting involved in the Final Expense program. Well, we have the Final Expense sales vision for 2020. We like to say we give you 2020 vision when it comes to Final Expense sales. When you partner with URL, we do provide you with sales scripts, agent guides. We have an online quoter. We'll talk more about that here in a couple of slides. We also have a turnkey marketing program for Medicare producers as well as P&C producers. We do have some revised letters that you can copy and paste onto your own letterhead and send out to your existing clients. When you work with us, we do have some specific webinars, seminars, and other one-on-one training. We do have some really good consumer materials like brochures, memorial books. We discuss some of the turnkey letters that we have. We also have numerous lead resources, and we're going to be talking more about the different lead options that are out there. And then, of course, when you're purchasing leads, we do like to subsidize your lead costs based on your production with us here at URL. For those of you who are brand new to Final Expense, let me explain to you what Final Expense life insurance is. Final expense life insurance is a simplified issue life insurance policy. That means that there are no medical exams and there are no medical records. This does not mean that it is guaranteed issue. Now, of course, guaranteed issue does fit under the final expense umbrella, but we try to get somebody into a better plan than guaranteed issue. Guaranteed issue is for people that are on oxygen, maybe dialysis, or currently going through cancer treatment, or maybe they've recently had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke. The average benefits range anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. Now, there are some carriers that'll start at a lower death benefit amount, and there are carriers that'll go above the $25,000 amount. This is a permanent whole life policy. What does that mean? It means that the rates are locked in for the rest of their life, and as long as the premiums are paid, they'll never outlive the death benefit. Now, what we try to do in the final expense marketplace is try to get somebody into what is called a level benefit whole life plan. A level benefit plan is a plan where the benefits are available day one, right away. If the client is going into like a graded benefit, or another term for it is guaranteed issue, typically the client has to live beyond 2 years, 2 years and 1 day to be exact, in order for the full benefit to be paid out to the beneficiary if death occurs. If death occurs during the first 2 policy years, the beneficiary typically gets back the return of the premiums paid plus interest. Now, a final expense life insurance plan or the final expense marketplace targets people ages 50 to 80. Now, there are plans that'll start as early as 2 weeks old, and some plans will go up to age 90. The underwriting is very liberal. Keep in mind that we're going after the senior market, and the senior market does have people that are diabetic. They have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Some of them are obese. They have some pre-existing medical conditions. They may have had a heart attack, a cancer, some strokes, or whatever. But if it's been 2 years or more, the chances of them getting into a level benefit plan are pretty good. The nice thing about these final expense life insurance plans is that policies are issued typically the same day, usually in 2 to 3 days is the average, but I like to say less than a week. Over promise or under promise, over deliver, I guess is the best way to put it. And because these policies get issued so quickly, commissions get paid typically within 48 hours. There are some carriers that may pay once a week. Most final expense carriers will pay commissions usually within 48 hours of that policy being put into force. This is a list of our final expense portfolio. Now, one of the things that you're going to find is that a lot of these carriers that are listed are not available for phone sales. And since we're in that phase of social distancing, many states are prohibiting us from going to clients' homes to make sales, which means we have to sell over the phone. Some of these carriers do not have the platforms to be able to do that. We'll get into that here in just a couple of minutes. When you partner with URL, we do have a final expense quote engine. Basically, you can get the rates at your fingertips. It's not really designed for your consumers, your clients, to run their own quotes, but this is just a way for you to be able to get quotes quickly. So if you take a look at if you take a look at the site and you go to URL, insgroup.com/Aries, and you go to Departments, Life Markets, and then go to Quoting Tools, you'll see that there is a quoting tool section here for final expense. When you click on final expense, it's going to take you to this page here on the left-hand side. This is where you would put the state of the sale, the client's date of birth, their gender, tobacco or non-tobacco use, and the amounts of coverage. If you are doing quotes over the phone, or even if you're face-to-face with a client when we no longer have to do social distancing, my suggestion is to give the client 3 rates. Usually you start around 10, 15, and 20,000. Give them 3 rates and let them determine which will work best for their budget. Some people may say, I'd like to go higher than that. Some people may say, I need to go lower than that. but it is a starting point. And typically people take the one, psychologically we take the one in the middle. Now you also will select the benefit type. This is where you'll put level, graded, modified, etc. You don't have to do anything here for the access key. It's already pre-populated for you. Then all you do is click on Get Quotes Now, and it takes you to the screen that you see on the right-hand side of the page. And the website does the shopping for you. Now, what the website does not do is it does not do any of the underwriting qualifications. It also does not eliminate carriers you're not contracted with. So you will want to look at carriers that you are contracted with. And I typically recommend that you get contracted with about 2 or 3 carriers and maybe 1 guaranteed issue plan. You don't want to get contracted with all final expense carriers, and you don't want to get contracted with all of the carriers because you have to kind of learn the underwriting niches. If you can learn 2 or 3 carriers, knowing you have a guaranteed issue plan in your back pocket, you're typically in pretty good shape. So that's our final expense quote engine. So it does the shopping for you. Again, I wouldn't show this page necessarily to the client. This is just so that you can get rates quickly. You don't have to go to each carrier's quote engine to get the rates for your clients. I'm going to talk about our lead program here and give you some of the information that we have. So we have several lead choices, and we have some changes that are coming for our lead program and some of the options that are available. So let me get into that a little bit. Lead choices, we have direct mail. We have a vendor for direct mail pieces. Actually, you see on the screen there, it's $460. It's actually $440, and it is for a 1,000-piece mailer. There are different vendors that we use. You can do a guaranteed response, meaning you can request a minimum of 20 leads. You can do it per week, you can do it per month. Those typically run anywhere from $32 to $35 a piece. That particular lead option, you do have to sign a contract for that. If you do the 1,000-piece mailer, you're looking at a national average about 1.5%. You do have access. These are exclusive leads. You do have a defined sales territory. You can do it by county. You can do it by state. You can do it by county and eliminate certain zip codes or add certain zip codes. It is entirely up to you. But again, the national average is about 1.5% response. So out of a 1,000-piece mailer, you're probably looking at about approximately 15 leads. And typically when you do direct mail, it typically takes between 2 to 3 weeks before you start seeing leads coming in. We also have verified tele-leads. Tele-leads is a quick turnaround time. You order leads today and you start seeing leads come in usually within 2 to 3 business days. With the verified tele-leads, this is a US-based company and it's US-based callers. They're $25 a piece, 10 lead minimum order. Again, you have a defined sales territory that you pick. It is exclusive, and these leads are never resold. They verify that the person's interested in speaking to you about life insurance. They verify the amounts of coverage that they'd be interested in getting. They also verify who the beneficiary would be if they got the life insurance policy. The trick to the verified tele-leads is that when you get notified of that lead, that you call them as quickly as you can. You're typically notified within 15 to 20 minutes of that initial phone call. The longer you wait, if you sit on a lead a day or 2 or 3, people seem to get what I call convenient amnesia. They don't remember talking to anybody, and they just don't seem to be as interested. We also have, jumping to number 4, basic tele-leads. This is another lead vendor that we have, and they are about $10 to $15 a piece. It depends on the quantity of leads that you order. Again, they're exclusive leads. Now, this is not a US-based company. It's actually, there's a couple of different choices out there. That's just the average cost is between $10 to $15 per lead. Now, if we go back up to number 3, and you'll see that there's Facebook leads, and they're about $30 a lead, 20 lead minimum order. You're notified in real time. I've sat down on tutorial on how to basically cut out the middleman. How can you design your own Facebook advertising? If you're on Facebook and you're thumbing through the different things on Facebook, you always see these sponsored ads, and it's almost like they're reading your mind. And the tutorial that I took is actually a way to is designed to put your ad placement there to drive business to you. So stay tuned. The leads are basically going to cost whatever the cost of the lead is through Facebook. You're cutting out the middleman. We have the materials like the different pictures that you can post on there, the different headings. So stay tuned. We will be having a training on that here in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. That's Facebook leads. So basically, we could probably get that lead cost down to about $10 to $15 a lead. So stay tuned. Now, the newest lead option that we have since we last talked is live transfer leads. And live transfer leads is a telemarketing company that's based in the United States, and they will call people and do the sales spiel for you. You kind of get to decide who the target is going to be and all of that stuff. The cost per live transfer is $35 to $38 per transfer. Again, you get to determine your targeted demographic, and you get to make your own schedule. You're not doing any of the cold calling, so what you're able to do is focus on closing sales. You don't have to sign any contracts, and like I said, it is a U.S.-based company. One of our agent partners in the Philadelphia marketplace actually turned my attention to this particular lead option. So he really enjoys it. The leads are pretty good quality. And again, these are people that are looking to speak to you. It is a warm handoff. So again, these are $35 to $38 per live transfer. Now, as we're talking about the costs that are associated with leads, we do subsidize your lead costs when you partner with us here. For our Gemini partners that are on the call, you know who you are. Normally, we give you $80 for every $1,000 of paid annualized premium that you place each month for final expense. We've bumped that up for April and May production to $100. And our standard partners, normally we give you $50 for every $1,000 of paid annualized final expense premium that you place each month. We've bumped that up to $75 for April and May production. So to give you an example, if you did $5,000 in final expense annualized premium this month, you will get a $500 lead credit if you are a Gemini producer, and our standard agents would get $375. So we're trying to help facilitate more sales for you, to help you get in front of more people, and to help you close more sales. So if you do have any questions regarding the lead subsidies or the lead vendors that we have, please feel free to give me a call. I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. For those of you who are not partnered with URL, here's how you can get started. I know it's cliche, as easy as 1, 2, 3, but the very first step is to select the carriers. If you don't know who you want to select or who would be best in your area, contact me. I'll help you with selecting your carriers. The next step is to submit your contracting. If you've already done other lines of business with URL, we probably have your licensing flash packet on file. That means that all you need to do is select your carriers. The contracting paperwork is already on file. All I need to do is notify the licensing department of the carriers that you select. And then the third step is to order leads. Now keep in mind that with some states, like Pennsylvania, we are a pre-appointment state. That means that you need to be licensed prior to submitting business. So when you select carriers and you submit the contracting, if you do telemarketer leads, you're probably going to start getting leads before you actually have companies to sell. So I'll help you with that. But those are the 3 easy steps to getting started with us here at URL in the final expense marketplace. Again, and this is another thing that we're doing. We do have a final expense fresh start bonus, and we've been doing this now for over a year. If you're new to selling final expense with URL, we're giving you an extra $25 per placed final expense application for your first 2 months, first 60 days with us here at URL. Now, you have to be new to URL, or you have not submitted business with URL, life business with URL, in the past 2 years. And again, it's for business that's placed within the first 60 days, and the minimum premium to qualify for this bonus is $500 per policy, the annualized premium. And you're able to kind of double dip because you can get the bonus as well as qualify for the lead subsidies that we have. Now let's move on to news and updates, and I know that you are as tired as I am about hearing about COVID-19, also known as the novel coronavirus. So here in Pennsylvania and in a lot of states, we're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, that things are starting to slowly open up. Now, Pennsylvania, most of the state is still under a stay-at-home order, except for non-essential or except for essential businesses. Life insurance is considered an essential business, but the caveat there is we're not allowed to sell face-to-face. With that being said, we do have some programs and platforms in place to help you sell over the phone, Tele-Sales. And while it's not necessarily ideal, there are plenty of agents that are out there that are doing it, and they're doing a great job of it. And for those of you that are doing Tele-Sales and you're doing it successfully, congratulations, and we do appreciate your business. But for those of you who are kind of like, oh, I'm a little nervous about doing it, or I just don't know how to do it, we'll show you how. Now, like I said, is a really good time to do that. And here's why. Forbes magazine came out with a study back in March of this year, and it was talking about people and their panic buying. And of course, people are buying food, they're buying water, they're buying the essential stuff like toilet paper, paper towels, disinfectants, and hand sanitizers, and things like that. But the other thing that really that made the list is that people are panic buying life insurance. I was actually surprised to see that. I thought people would just kind of like wait it out a little bit. But the statistics from Forbes magazine shows that the study shows that a 50% increase in people doing online searches about life insurance, a 50% increase, a 29% increase in online applications. So what is that telling me? It's basically telling me that people are interested, but they're doing this online. Obviously, they can't do it face-to-face. So this is where we need to meet the client. Now, the other thing is that clients or consumers want no exam life insurance coverage. They also want these policies to be issued relatively soon, and they're looking for permanent coverage, not the term coverage that we're accustomed to selling, like the 10, 15, 20, 30-year term plans. They're looking for something that is going to be there and locked in for the rest of their life. That's where a final expense life insurance policy comes into place. A final expense life insurance policy can be sold online or over the phone. As I had mentioned earlier, there are no medical exams that are required, and there are no medical records that an underwriter is going to need to get. Policies are issued quickly, and life insurance final expense plans are whole life plans, which is permanent coverage. They pay a rate, lock in that rate, and that's the rate that they'll pay for the rest of their life. And as long as they pay the premiums, they'll never outlive the coverage. This is where we're able to kind of meet the client's needs and what they want. A final expense life insurance policy is going to get issued in a matter of a day or two versus a traditional life insurance plan, which may take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to get issued. Now we're hearing about social distancing and social distance selling, and here's just kind of a snapshot of the carriers that have some form or some platform that allows you to sell over the phone, where you don't have to do it in the confines of your office face-to-face or at the client's kitchen table. So if we break down the carriers that allow you to sell over the phone, we have AIG, which is a guaranteed issue plan. They have an e-application where you log in to their site and submit the business directly to the carrier directly from their site. Assurant has a phone application, but the problem with Assurant, if you call it that, is that they have a cap on non-face-to-face sales of $15,000. That's a $15,000 death benefit. Gerber is also a guaranteed issue plan, and they also have a link in there where you submit the application electronically on their site. And again, AIG and Gerber are guaranteed issue plans that you do not have to be face-to-face to submit that business, but you have to do it through their e-app platform. KSKJ Life is a fairly new carrier that we have, and they have a phone application to a certain extent. Here's how it works. So you do you go through the medical questions, and then when you need signatures, you have to go to the client's house and drop the paperwork off, step back, step off their porch, let them sign it, and then they will then sign the paperwork, and then they'll step away, and then you'll pick up the paperwork and take it back to your office to submit. It's kind of like delivering a pizza, if you will. It's that contactless delivery. So that's KSKJ Life. There is an added step there, but they do allow you to do the wholesale over the phone. Liberty Bankers has a phone application. I'll get into that here in just a couple of minutes. Mutual of Omaha has an e-application available through the iGo e-application platform. Occidental Life now has two ways to do it. You can do it electronically through the e-app available on their website, or you can do a voice authorization, a voice signature. The voice signature went live late last week. Prosperity Life has an e-application. The link is available on their website. Royal Neighbors has an e-application. However, it's not approved in Pennsylvania, but they also have a phone application. I'll get into that here in just a couple of minutes as well. And lastly, Transamerica, they have an e-application available through the iGo application platform. If you have any questions on any of these carriers and how it works, please do not hesitate to give me a call, or you can ask questions here on today's webinar. Moving on. So we talked about electronic application submission and phone application submission. The phone application submission is basically voice signatures, where the e-application is usually done electronically through either an application link that's on the specific carrier's website, or through a generic online application like iGo. The thing about an electronic application is that the client has to have access to an email address because they're going to sign it through their email application. So that's how that kind of works with the electronic application submission versus the phone application. Now, here are some tips for selling over the phone. And last month, we kind of went over some of this, and I want to kind of reiterate some things and also made some adjustments to it. The first tip to selling over the phone is to be natural, confident, and comfortable. Most of us are calling from the comforts of our own home, just like I'm talking to you from the comforts of my home. So be comfortable, be natural, be confident. Ask questions, but get to the point. Get to the point. If you're talking to somebody that is brand new, you have about 30 seconds to get their attention and kind of lead them in the direction that you want them to go, which takes us to the third point. Lead the conversation. Ask them questions that are going to put them in the direction that you want them to go. Now, while you're talking to them, number 4, be enthusiastic. Number 5, smile. Number 6, talk slower and lose the filler words like and stuff like that. Number 7, use the customer's name during the phone call. 8, summarize in simple words. Simplify life insurance. Simplify the application process. Simplify what life insurance does. Don't necessarily talk about death benefits. Talk about what life insurance can do for them and what life insurance can do for their family. Number 9, prepare for common objections. I have a list of rebuttals for common objections. And the 10th tip for selling over the phone, practice, practice, practice. Practice with your spouse, practice with brother, sister, family members, practice your presentation over the phone. One of the pointers that I got from another agent that is normally accustomed to selling over the phone, but he is now, or accustomed to selling face-to-face, but is now selling over the phone, is he does what he does over the phone is what he used to do face-to-face. The whole presentation, his whole spiel. He's doing quite well. Is it where it was prior to the pandemic? No, but it is. He is still making money and still making sales. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about voice signatures and how easy it is. And this is where we're going to highlight two companies and how it works with. And these two companies have probably the easiest voice signature phone application that you'll experience in the final expense marketplace. And the companies are Liberty Bankers and Royal Neighbors. So the way it works is very simple. We have you as the agent. Now the picture here is just showing a working mom that is working from the comforts of your home. That's why I kind of chose that picture, but it could be anybody. You could be working from the comforts of your home or your office. If you're looking to do this full-time, part-time, the ability is there to either use this as supplemental income or to do this full-time. But you would call the client and get them on the phone. You're going to do some pre-qualifying questions, and we're going to get into the pre-qualifying questions here in just a couple of minutes. After you've gone through the questions and the person has agreed to apply for the coverage, that's when you would do a conference call between the client, you, and the insurance carrier. Liberty Bankers and Royal Neighbors both have a very similar process. So you're going to talk to the client, get them to agree to apply, make sure that they can qualify for either Liberty Bankers or Royal Neighbors, and then you're going to contact the underwriting team and do a three-way phone call. The underwriter is going to talk to the client, and then they're going to relay, after they've talked to the client, they're going to relay the underwriting decision to you and get that coverage in place. Because this is so quickly, a lot of times you can get the client coverage the very same day during that same phone call. And that's where you get paid rather quickly too. So you're able to meet the client's needs over the phone. You're able to get them the coverage quickly, and you're able to get paid quickly as well. So it's kind of a win-win situation for everybody involved. It's voice signatures. There is no paperwork that needs to be filled out by the client. You also don't have to have the client log in to their email or into somebody's email in order to sign the document. It's all done electronically, or I should say it's all done through voice authorizations and voice signatures. Now, there are some little caveats here and there with these carriers, with Liberty Bankers and Royal Neighbors. I can certainly walk you through that. But those are two carriers that really make it simple. You're basically talking to the client, making the introduction to the carrier, and then getting the underwriting decision. Moving on. I get asked this question quite often. What company do I use? And this is more or less for doing phone sales. When you're talking to somebody, how do you know who you should use? That's why you don't want to get licensed with every carrier known to man. You want to get licensed with 2 or 3 carriers that you know have some liberal underwriting to it. So these are the questions that you could ask, and you can do this rather rapidly. Remember, I mentioned before, you have about 30 seconds to grab somebody's attention. So you can ask these quick medical questions to kind of determine which company you're going to use before you give them some rates. First of all, you do want to verify their birth date. So you say, can you please verify your date of birth? Do you use any form of tobacco? In the past 2 years, have you had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke? If the answer is yes, you're probably looking at a guaranteed issue plan. If the answer is no, you're in good shape with most carriers. They may have had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke, but if it's been 2 years or longer, they still can qualify for a level benefit. Are you a diabetic? And if so, are you experiencing any complications? Are you on oxygen or on dialysis? And then, are you taking any medications? And if so, what are you taking and what is it for? You do want to get specific to the medications because there are some dual purpose medications that may be treating one thing, but it could also be assumed that they're being treated for something else. We do have a way to work around that. So those are some of those questions that you would ask the client. When you're talking to somebody and you're doing the kind of the quick health interview, you do want to listen for the following knockout. If somebody has congestive heart failure, or they're currently being treated for cancer, if they have COPD, emphysema, kidney or liver disease, or if they're having or experiencing complications that are associated with diabetes, like loss of limbs, heart problems, vision problems, or kidney problems. Being a diabetic is not an automatic knockout. Being insulin or a pill diabetic is not an automatic knockout. It is acceptable. Keep in mind, these plans are targeting older individuals. So people are going to have high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. They may have thyroid issues, arthritis, gout, asthma, obesity. These carriers have they have the wiggle room built in there so that you can still, so they still can accept seniors, older clients that have some pre-existing medical conditions. Again, this is a list of the carriers that you can sell over the phone. If you do have any questions as to particular risk assessment, you're not sure where to go, of course, I'm available to help you. You can send me an email, give me a call. I will certainly help you with that and help you navigate that. So while we're working hard at trying to write more policies, to get in front of people, to do business, some people like the incentives in addition to nice commission payments. They do like to get these trips from every now and then. So we like to say you work hard, you play hard too. Here are some of the trip incentives that are out there. So for business that you do with any of these final expense carriers and your partnership with URL, you have access to these trips. And some people ask, how do agents qualify for some of these trips? And basically, they make that their core company. For example, if you're interested in going to Vienna or in Prague in 2021, obviously you see there that there's a $90,000 minimum premium to qualify. That's $90,000 of placed premium. Now, they do other lines than just final expense. This is with Foresters, of course. But that would be the main company that you would try to lead with that particular carrier. Or if you want to go to Portugal, Liberty Bankers for $75,000 at annualized premium. So you would use Liberty Bankers as your go-to company. Now, of course, you still want to make some money. And if the Liberty Bankers isn't a fit, but maybe it's AIG or Gerber for guaranteed issue, for a guaranteed issue plan, obviously you want to get the client the coverage, but you might want to select one of these carriers that's on here if you're looking to make a trip as well. So that's how agents qualify. I get that question from time to time. So work hard, play hard. If this is something that's of interest to you, just like to throw that out there. And that takes us to our open forum. As we're wrapping things up here, we do want to hear from you, even if it's not during our webinar right now. What are some of the challenges that you're experiencing if you're already doing final expense? I'd like to see if there's a way that I can help alleviate some of those challenges. Also want to know what your successes are. If you're having a really good week or a really good month, what are you doing? Have you made some adjustments that is creating these successes? What can we do to help you continue those successes? If you're ordering leads, whether it's through one of our lead vendors or a lead vendor of your choice, how are the leads working out for you? I found out about direct the voice or the live transfer leads from an agent that works with us. Told us all about it, and he really enjoys it. So we'd like to share that information with the other agents. And then lastly, if you're on the fence about giving final expense life sales a try, what can I do? What can URL do to help you give it a try? Commissions are great. There's bonuses, lead subsidies. Really, the only thing that seems, in my mind, that would be holding you back is you. So what can I do to help convince you that final expense sales is really a very good marketplace and a really good way to help people, especially baby boomers in this great generation. So if you do have any of those questions, comments, concerns, feel free to give me a call on that. My contact information is there on the screen. My direct number, this goes right into my phone. Again, we're all working remote. My direct line is 717-216-8041. Again, 717-216-8041. You can also email me at matta@urlinsgroup.com. I really appreciate everybody's time today. I hope this really kind of gave you some information and kind of where we're going with COVID-19, where the final expense marketplace is going. And of course, if you do have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always give me a call. I'm here to help. So I appreciate your time, everybody. I don't see any questions that have come in, so I'm going to bid everybody adieu, and hope everybody has a great week. And I look forward to working with you on final expense life sales. Take care, everybody.